This meeting is being recorded.
Oh, okay. Once again, welcome everyone. Welcome to the WSI Women's Sports International WSI webinar today. So my name is Kanai Haneshi. I am the Secretary General of Women's Sports International. So today's topic is the leadership in sports with a gender perspective. Would you like to translate this part, or we can just move forward? What do you think? We're going to move forward.
Do we have, let's ask, how many people are speaking Spanish that need translation? Can you ask?
Okay.
Eso es el liderazgo en el deporte de género. No sé, I guess that's what you wanted me to just to say the
yeah, just a welcome.
Yeah.
All right,
Bueno.
welcome.
Bienvenidos a todos. Estoy tratando de traducir hoy, hoy estamos hablando de liderazgo en el deporte con el perspectivo de liderazgo de género. Y espero que me entiendan. Y si no, con mucho gusto, dinos que si puede traducir. Me dicen.
Okay.
Thanks very much, Chris. Muchas gracias, Chris, for the translation, and now is the presentation.
Okay,
no, it's for Carol.
Hold on. Before we go into the presentation, I am going to speak quickly about the housekeeping, and then Dr. Carol Ogroski will introduce you. Today's speaker, Ms. Nair. So before we go into the presentation, I'm just gonna go quickly about the housekeeping. So please mute yourself during the session by clicking the mute button. I'm sure you all are familiar about the Zoom at this point, but just in case. And if you haven't, please introduce yourself in the chat. We love to know where people are from, what you're doing, and what brought you here. And during the session, there's a little reaction feature that Zoom has. So if you are interested in, please feel free to use the reaction feature as well. And the translations is available. Today it is not perfect, but translation from Spanish to English will be available thanks to Ms. Chris Shelton. And also translated caption CC will be available for your language. So click that caption and then select your language from here. Then your closed caption should come up is in your own language in some way or not. Okay, so next. Oh yes, today's agenda is the welcome message, and then introduction of the guest speaker, and then presentation, right? Ms. Nair, and then question and answer, and then at the end, I am going to talk about a little bit about the Women's Sports International and our membership. So quickly, welcome. Again, on behalf of Women's Sports International, I'd like to welcome you all to today's webinar, and I'm sure you are eager. Yes, welcome. So you are eager to start this session, so I'm going to move on, but once again, welcome. So next is the introduction of the guest speaker and the translator by Dr. Carol Ogroski.
Before we do that, are you going to give them the PDF of the PowerPoint?
Yes, I am. Yes, that's a good point. Yes, okay. I am so sorry. Yes, the PDF version of the English version and the Spanish version of the PDF link will be available in the chat. So please keep checking the chat. I am going to paste that right now when the Carol is introducing. Okay, go ahead, Carol.
She's mute. You're muted, Carol.
Sorry. Thank you. Welcome to everybody from me. Happy to be here and so happy to have our guest from Uruguay. I wanted to begin with just a little bit of a tweak that we've had in the program. There was to be a translator who was unable at the very last moment to participate. So I want to say a big thank you to Chris Shelton, who's acting in the last 30, 45 minutes to be here to provide translation. Chris is a emeritus professor from Smith College, been very active for decades in the women and social change activity on the Smith campus and much beyond. And she's been a consistent voice for the Spanish-speaking segment population of the world for many years, I think arising from her Peace Corps experience in Venezuela a few years back. But thank you, Chris, very much. We're so lucky to have our speaker today, Nair Ackerman-Bochard is an international leader within FIFA, very well recognized for her, especially for her work on behalf of women. She's provided long-term leadership to the Uruguayan Women's Football Council. She has been a member of the FIFA Women's Under-17 World Organization, a member of the South American Under-20 Organization and Committee for the 2014 Championship, which was in Uruguay. She's been and is continuing as a leader in the Ibero-American Network for Women in Sport and a very active participant with the International Working Group for Women in Sport since 2014. So Nair, thank you so much for your presentation today and bon voyage.
No.
Okay, thanks very much. Muchas gracias, muchas gracias. Bien, ¿cómo empezar? Hoy podemos traer una definición de historias y liderazgos en el fútbol, history and leadership in the football, liderazgos que una persona tiene al influir, al motivar, a organizar y llevar a cabo acciones para lograr fines y objetivos, objetivos que involucren a otras personas. En ese marco están la capacidad de crear nuevos líderes. If you translate,
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was an introduction just to say that around the world, people are really working to try to develop more women leaders in our sports areas. And I cannot see the English thing that you have, and I need to see both of those if it's possible. Can I?
Yes, English.
The PDF that you have put together in English.
Yes. Do you want to see the English version of the presentation right now?
If I can see both of them, it would help. But mostly, I think we're going to move into the leadership in sports, looking at a perspective of gender. And we'll go with your con tu presentación, entonces.
Otros autores también señalan de que las acciones de grupo traen a un equipo que orienta, que coordina los esfuerzos para lograr los objetivos. Es necesario coordinar acciones a través del liderazgo para que así esos objetivos lleguen a buen fin, a buenos logros, ¿sí? En el caso de líderes desafiantes, llamaríamos, desde el inicio de la historia, líderes con fuerza como Alice Milliat, que el 20 de agosto, 20 August 2022, ella habló frente a las decisiones de Pierre de Coubertin en el inicio de los Juegos Olímpicos, desafiando de que las mujeres necesariamente tienen que estar en el deporte.
Okay.
Cris.
Okay. And this, she's saying that the leadership, the capacity of leadership to influence and motivate and organize is very important. And there's a lot of potential and a lot of diversity in how this happens. If I can just move from that part to where she is now, which are using some of the historic leaders, Alice Milat, who was a sports person, and in August of 1922, she worked really hard with the Olympic Committee to open things for women. She goes on with Lila Parr in 1905, who was an athlete, and I guess
Lily Parr. Lily Parr, jugadora, player of the first club in England, primer club en Inglaterra de las Dick Care Ladies, en donde en 1863
wow. And they were the first to play football. Yeah.
First place in football. Now, in this moment, the woman, la mujer is Megan Rapinoe, es otra mujer desafiante que crea conciencia, ¿sí?
So today it's Mega Conciencia, no veo su nombre aquí.
No, Megan Rapinoe abre conciencia, abre ideas, forma ideas, nuevas ideas de equiparación, de igualdad, de trabajo y de motivación a la mujer.
Okay. So this person is a person that is encouraging people to move forward and speak their own minds. And I think that's about all I can say about her. I still don't have it in English, and I don't have it in Spanish either. So I don't know what's going on here. It's hard to listen and do this. So, pero sigue adelante. Eso todo bien.
Sí, correcto. Ada Egerberg en Noruega también. She is a player, and she's a younger player, Ada Egerberg in Norway, and she is explained for equality, for más trabajo. Lidia Nesquera de Burundi logra en el Comité Olímpico Internacional trabajar en su Secretaría General. Es una mujer también de proyección, de decisiones, y está también en la FIFA. Moya, la doctora en leyes, Moya Dodd, jugadora, player of the Australian teams, and first woman in the FIFA in 2016. And she works in the transformation of the activities in FIFA for more women in the play. And now Fatma Samora of Senegal is the General Secretary of FIFA. Clemencia Anaya is our referent in America because she is a great Olympic player and woman Olympic, and she is in the international competition and is a referent of our social watch, Ibero-American watch sport woman. And Carol is a great woman in all moments, in all Congress, in all reference for our people. You can, Chris?
Yes, I can understand. You're perfect. Your English is better than mine. Okay. Vamos a textos extraídos.
Bien, sí, cómo no. Proporcionar, ¿qué es lo necesario? Señala Elida Alfaro Gandarillas, que le agradezco esté acá también presente, de que se debe proporcionar formación a las deportistas y mujeres interesadas en el ámbito directivo del deporte. No es fácil administrar, hacer presupuestos, evaluar. Hay que formar gente.
And here she's trying to, the person she's talking about who couldn't be here is trying to get more women and sportswomen interested in the way that you can become a leader in sport.
Bien. Implementar, ubicar módulos formativos sobre equidad y género en la gestión deportiva. La gestión deportiva no es un jugador, no es una jugadora. Es converger muchas características para trabajar en forma unida, en forma con objetivos claros. Campañas de sensibilización a los hombres y a las mujeres también. Las mujeres ocupan puestos de responsabilidad. Suelen ser las que tienen ayudas para conciliar su vida familiar y laboral. No se ve que la mujer...
This one is a very important one. I think we all agree with that. So many women that have positions of responsibility in the sport world also must have a lot of support from their family and from their work.
Bien. Aumentar la sensibilidad en temas de la igualdad entre mujeres y hombres. No queremos dejarlos de lado. Los necesitamos. Trabajamos juntos. Hombres y mujeres juntos, together. But hay que formar más. Y eso es a través de la academia, a través de las universidades y de los intercambios, como más adelante lo digo.
I'm asking again, does anybody have this and translated into English that can read these slides? Can I help?
Chris, I think if you go to in the chat, there's a connection, and I think you can open that up and see the English along with what's going on in the Spanish.
Yeah. I'm in chat. I don't see it. I don't have it in chat.
So if you see the chat, there is a link to it. If you scroll up, I can send that.
Yeah, send it one more time, Sweetness.
Okay.
Where are you sending it is the question.
Yes, I am
to the chat on the bottom.
I'm in chat and all I have are
Okay,
people.
hold on. I am going to send you the link to the English version.
I actually uploaded the PDF. So the PDF, sorry, this is Diana, sorry to interrupt. But I uploaded the PDF. I transferred it from the Word doc to the PDF so that if you find my name, it says WSI webinar. If you click on that, that will open an English version.
Fantastic.
Under your name, Diana?
Correct, Diana Winan.
Yeah, I'm there. And I see you in chat and nothing else happens on me.
About 5 from the bottom.
Maybe
I see your name again.
Email you. You want me to email you?
Yeah, why don't you do that? Let's try that. because what is being said in Spanish, I can translate into English, but then as she moves on, I'm lost and so the English would be helpful and then I can follow her what she's saying.
Okay. Hi, this is Rosa speaking. I
Rosa.
just joined. Yes, and I have 30 minutes, just 30 minutes because I have another meeting. So if I can be of any help.
Sí, señora, con mucho gusto.
Hola.
Hi, Nair. Hola, ¿cómo estás?
¿Cómo estás, Rosa? ¿Cómo
Okay,
estás?
please,
Mucho
Diana.
gusto.
I
Es
just
mejor,
need-
Rosa, si tú puedes ayudar, porque yo no puedo leer y traducir a la vez. Es casi
Okay.
imposible para mí.
In these pictures, quiero mostrar, I show, de que ellas, they broken the barriers, jugando, ellas rompieron las barreras.
Okay. In these pictures, she wants to show that they broke the barriers by playing. So these are just examples, okay?
Por lo tanto, es solamente encauzar hacia el futuro esas energías que cada una tiene para que no se pierdan por las vicisitudes de la reproducción, de formarse, de tener esos 20 años en los cuales tienen que hacer su vida, que no se pierdan como futuras líderes.
Okay, so it is just to support them so that they don't get lost because they are here with 20 years. So we have to encourage them to continue and to become the future leaders. Otherwise, if we don't support them at this age and we don't show them models, then they cannot become the leaders we would like them to be in the future.
Bien. Next. Can I? Next. Solo hay un 12% de jugadoras a nivel mundial registradas. Se encamina a 60 millones en el año 2030.
There are just
Solo el
12% of women players registered at world level, but it is expected that by 2030 will be 60 million.
Solo estamos hablando, only we talk of football. Only we talk for football women, no others sports. And solo el 8% son mujeres representando en lugares de tomas de decisión. Es decir,
Okay, so we are just talking about women soccer, okay, just women soccer, and just 8% are women who are in decision-making position, just 8%.
Bien. Solo el 7% de registradas son directoras técnicas, es decir, ya con una visión que pueden tener una visión de perspectiva de género o no, pero son directoras técnicas referentes mujeres. Solo un 7% a nivel mundial.
Just 7% worldwide are technical director. They might not have the gender perspective or being enforced or empowered, you know, as women being there, but they are there and they are visible, okay? But it's just 7%.
En la Eurocopa, ahora en Inglaterra, que estuve presente, de las 16 entrenadores que había, solo había 6 mujeres. Y estamos hablando de la Eurocopa femenina, de la cual 55 países proceden a clasificar y quedan simplemente 16 países. De esos 16 países, dijimos, solo 6 mujeres estaban al frente de las selecciones.
Okay, she was at the European Cup. And in that European Cup, in which 16 countries participate, well, originally it is 55, but then they are classified until they are just 16. But of those 16, just 6 had women coaches. Just 6.
Y tuve el honor de estar en la final en Wimbledon, en Wembley, en donde 2 de ellas en la final, Inglaterra y Alemania, eran mujeres. Por lo tanto, hubo un avance.
Okay, so she said that there is a step forward because in the finals, it was Germany and England. And both of them, Germany and England, had women coaches. So there has been some progress, and that's positive. She was lucky enough, Nair was lucky enough to be there in the final.
En la Copa América, que también fue en julio, de los 10 países de América, 4 mujeres y una fue la campeona, Brasil, y fue Pia Sandas, mujer que dirigió Brasil.
Okay, and in the American Cup that was also in July, it took place in July, there were just 4 women coaches out of 10. And the winner was Brazil, and it was 1 woman coach.
Y en la Copa Africana, que también fue ahora, y mi saludo a Game of Motivi, es también presente de que ganó Sudáfrica con Dennis Ellis. Quiere decir que vemos un avance de las mujeres ganando las copas en cada continente.
And in South Africa, in African Cup, the South African team won, and it was a woman coach, and she greets Hamed, she welcomes Hamed that is here present.
Y en la reciente Copa que finalizó el domingo pasado con el triunfo de España, las mujeres en Costa Rica, sub-20, de las 16 entrenadoras, 9 eran mujeres. De manera que aquí se revirtió la posibilidad a nivel del mundo sub-20.
En ese sub-20, ¿cuántos equipos eran? ¿Y cómo se llama la Copa?
Eran 16 equipos.
Okay, and in the recent cup that it was under 20th, there were 16 teams and there were 9 women coaches. And that is, again, a very positive side because the tendency is changing.
Saber también que las árbitras a nivel mundial tienen también que estar en estas competiciones. Ahora, ¿cuántas de todas ellas tienen una formación con perspectiva de género? ¿Y cuántas defienden y trabajan para que hayan más mujeres, ya sea directoras técnicas o árbitras o todas las funciones que existan? Son modelos, son imágenes, pero van creciendo.
Okay, and about women referee, we all know that they are present there and there are quite a number. However, how many of them have been trained or have been working with a gender perspective? How many of them are working to have more women present? Whatever the situation is, the reality is that they are more visible nowadays in soccer.
Bien. Quiero señalar el acceso, lo último, el acceso de las mujeres a posiciones de liderazgo. Y aquí quiero hacer honor a la doctora Danae Andrade, que es miembro del Board Internacional de Hockey Internacional, miembro del Comité Olímpico Uruguayo y a su vez presidenta del fútbol femenino, presidenta del hockey femenino, y que realiza una labor incuestionable de trabajos hacia el futuro. Yo creo que también dejar claro de que en el siglo XXI debemos ir avanzando más en esto.
Okay, so and the latest information, she wants to mention Danae Andrade, who is a member in International Board of Hockey, and she has been doing a very important work in order to promote women's leadership. And she believes the tendency is to improve as the day go by. There's hope for it to become better.
Yes, thanks. And now, a news canal. And in this moment, en este momento yo trato de mostrar que el fútbol, en este caso, estuvo prohibido durante el siglo XX en su mayor cantidad en países de importancia. ¿Quieres avanzarlo?
Okay, so in here she wants to remind people that soccer, women's soccer was forbidden in several places. And the ones that she indicates there, like England, Germany, Brazil, France, they were forbidden to be played. Women's were forbidden. And imagine Brazil, it was until 1983.
De esa manera, es muy difícil que en pocos años se promueva fácilmente en un continente americano machista poder formar mujeres. Por lo tanto, nos debemos apoyar y trabajar en conjunto.
Okay. So that is why she said you can understand what it has been complex in a continent such as this one, the Americas, with this machism perspective and strong characters towards more traditional women's behavior to change the stereotypes. So it has been a struggle in process, okay?
Recién en 1991 la FIFA organiza su primer mundial. Quiere decir que estamos a apenas 30 años y que queremos llegar a 60 millones. Por lo tanto, las competencias han ido creciendo cada 4 años, cada 2 años, pero la dirigencia no ha sido igual su crecimiento.
Okay, so it is just in 1991 when FIFA celebrated the first Women World Cup. So it's 30 years, and in spite of the fact that it has been, it's more regular every 4 years, every 2 years, and there is this tendency to get to 60 million practitioners by the year 2013. It is not true that the ones who make decisions, let's say the leaders, they have not changed much.
Correct. And now, next, can I? Ahora quiero entrar en un estudio que se hizo en Uruguay sobre qué acciones estratégicas son realizadas para la mayor inclusión de la mujer en el ámbito de la dirección deportiva y también de la mujer deportista.
So these studies, he wants to share some strategic actions that was done in Uruguay in order to check what could be done in order to have more women inclusion in sport.
Menos del 7% del total de deportistas son federadas. Estamos en una cifra muy menor, alrededor de 200.000 hombres y alrededor de 20.000, 25.000 mujeres. Es muy poco.
So, for example, less than 7% are officially registered. It means, for example, 200,000 men and 20,000 women. It is a very small number.
De eso tenemos que la mayor parte juega al fútbol, es decir, está registrada la mayor parte en el deporte fútbol, luego atletismo, handball, básquetbol, voleibol, hockey, pero el gran fuerte es el fútbol.
So in this 7%, most of them are in soccer. Then there are other ones like track and field, handball, but most of them is soccer.
Bien. La formación de los dirigentes se identificó en este estudio que hay una carencia de formación y capacitación específica en las y los dirigentes deportivos.
It was evident in the study that there is not a training program for sport leaders, for men and women.
En el cuadro Canae, próximo al cuadro, la distribución de los deportistas federados es el hombre en yellow and in blue the woman.
Okay, these are the ones that are registered. So she indicated yellow, men, blue, women.
Next. Ahora son los the council, and es similar, mujeres están en un 15% y hombres un 84%, ¿sí?
Esa es la directiva, ¿no? La
directiva, sí.
So the board, you will see the same relationship, just 15.1% are women and the rest are men.
Estamos hablando de 53 deportes en el Comité Olímpico y 3 son las presidentas.
There are 55 sports federations registered at the National Olympic Committee, and only 3 have women president.
Bien, next. Del trabajo de Élida Alfaro, magíster en la Complutense de Madrid en el tema de género, planteaba junto con otros 2 colegas en analizar las perspectivas de trabajo hacia los futuros liderazgos. Esto lleva a que hay cambios en las estructuras deportivas, como la profesionalización en el deporte de las federaciones e instituciones deportivas, pero no se formaron nuevas dirigentes.
Okay, so this is a research from Elida Alfaro from Spain, together with 2 other colleagues. And according to this study, the sport structure, there was indeed professionalization of the sport structures and the federations. However, no more women were trained to become leaders in their different positions in the federations.
Incentivar en la participación de mujeres, o si no, los cambios en los tiempos y en la organización del trabajo de las instituciones que gestionan el deporte, horarios más flexibles, aprovechamiento de las nuevas tecnologías, valoración cualitativa del trabajo, remuneración de los puestos de gestión. Comúnmente el voluntariado es parte de la mujer. La mujer realiza mucho trabajo voluntario.
So it's to motivate women's participation in sport management implies to look for quality criteria, to look for ways in which times for meetings, positions they can play, roles they can play, the time, flexible time, and can be implemented in the organization so they can be incorporated and participate. Of course, to take advantage of technology, new technology, and also to consider payment, even though most of the volunteer work, it's women the ones who do the volunteer work.
Bien. The next, can I? Proyecciones al 2030, una forma de pensar hacia qué futuro queremos ir. Capacitación e intercambios. Claves.
Towards 2030, okay, how do we project towards that? So definitely training and exchange.
Puede ser sur-sur, sur-norte, pero encontrar de que a través de congresos, seminarios, encuentros, se logre avanzar y hacer mentorías hacia futuras mujeres, hacia futuras líderes. Favorecer los reconocimientos también, ya sea la mujer de ayer, de hoy o de mañana, pero favorecer, reconocer a las mujeres que han ido logrando sus pasos en el deporte y en las estrategias hacia una dirección o una gestión deportiva.
Okay, this exchange could be done south-north or south-south, but it's very important to acknowledge the work that women have been doing, to acknowledge at least if the first initial steps in order to motivate them to continue supporting and continue mentoring others.
Bien. Sustentabilidad en las acciones. Nada se puede hacer sin trabajar con presupuestos, sin influir en las esferas de gobierno para que nuestro trabajo sea sustentable y a largo plazo. La necesidad de trabajar con responsabilidad, con objetivos claros y planes a largo plazo. Favorecer también la comunicación con otras instituciones a nivel mundial, la UNESCO, en este caso también, trabajar con ellos y favorecer entonces las acciones de futuro.
Sustainability is a key word. So nothing can be done if there is not a budget, if there is no money to support. So definitely that's an important element that have to be considered in the organizations.
Crear indicadores con enfoque de género, posibilitar que en cada país a nivel de gobierno se formen conceptos de e ir evaluando a través del tiempo, a través de indicadores que promuevan conocer a la mujer deportista y a la mujer gestora deportiva en su estado, sus capacidades, sus horas de tiempo libre, su remuneración, la edad, es decir, tener indicadores.
Okay, gender indicators. So all countries should have those indicators in order to motivate and to look at women who are participating at their age, their payment, their level of professionalism. All those elements should be there so we can start knowing more information about what women are doing.
Bien, y como último, los medios, el trabajo con los medios de comunicación. Muchas veces la visibilidad no es apropiada hacia la mujer, sino en situaciones límites. Entonces, ¿cómo trabajamos mejor para una mujer que debe enfrentarse en el tema de la gestión deportiva, de ser líder frente a un grupo, si los medios de comunicación no la ven, no están o solo ven el espectáculo? Creemos de que se debe formar más a la prensa, a los medios de comunicación, para encontrar a esa mujer deportista, gestora, trabajadora, jugadora en una cancha, pero con un concepto del deporte y no de una mujer espectáculo.
Okay, so the media, it is so important that women are present in the media, but women as players, as leaders, as referee, but not as women being sex portrayed. We don't want those stereotypes. We don't want women to be shown in such a negative way. We want to show them in their capacities and capabilities. And that means working person, working women, doing the work and showing this model to the generations, but showing them in different roles.
Bien. Bueno, next, can I... muchísimas gracias. Muchísimas gracias a todos, principalmente a Women Sport International por estar permitiéndome ofrecer unos breves conceptos de lo que entiendo por el liderazgo Y gracias también, Chris, Carol, Canae, por toda la ayuda y por supuesto, Rosa D'Amico, que lo has logrado muy bien. Estar a las órdenes de cualquier pregunta, cualquier consulta y bueno, y seguir trabajando en esto que no es nada menor.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate to Women's Sport International for allowing me, for inviting me to speak about leadership, to speak about the reality I have been working with. Also, thank you to Christine, to Carol, to Kanai for making it possible and giving her this platform to provide this information. And what is in the slide, it says, this is me when I am old. So this is her playing soccer when she's old, okay? So it was my pleasure also to help. I enter late because I have like another meeting and I mentioned to Kanai, I want to go attend, but I have another meeting. But when I entered, I saw Chris there and I said, I have to help.
Thank you so much, Rosa. Muy bien
No
hecho.
worries, no worries.
Magnífico, todo.
Bien.
¿Y a dónde vamos? Where are we
Thank you
heading?
again for the presentation, and we would like to move on to the question and the answer section. So, am I? Okay, hold on. Let me just stop sharing. That's what I need to do. I'm sorry. Okay, so we are moving on to the question and answer part. So if you feel free to use the chat feature if that's more comfortable for you, or you can just unmute yourself and ask questions. I'm gonna open it to the floor.
I wasn't even planning to open the video because I was with my crazy hair and everything.
Any questions?
Okay, I have a question. Thank you again for the great presentation. I have learned the importance of having the women existence in the leadership position in sports. So what would you advise for the younger generation who is interested in being a leader in sports? What are some of the advice for you from you to the younger generation, women? Can one of you translate it for me?
Sorry.
Okay, can Chris or Rosa, you can
Rosa,
translate
por
it for
favor.
me?
Sí, ella quiere primero agradecerte por la presentación, muchas gracias, y quiere saber en cuanto al liderazgo de la mujer y en el deporte, ¿qué consejos, qué sugerencias tienes para las nuevas generaciones, para las jóvenes?
Yo creo de que antes que pedirles a ellas, tenemos que ver nosotros cómo estamos procediendo para aumentar mucho más la llegada de nuestras acciones a todo el espectro de las deportistas. Ellas están inmersas ahora en sus prácticas, en sus juegos, en su proyección a mejores. Pero nosotros, desde nuestros lugares, a través de talleres, a través de intercambios, generar espacios de diálogo a través de las plataformas que motiven a que esa mujer se forme. No es fácil vencer el techo de cristal.
Okay, so instead of asking or suggesting them what to do, we should look at ourselves. What are we doing in order to make them keep going? Because they have to do their part, and their role is when they are young is to play to continue being athlete, to continue developing themselves, studying, preparing, becoming professionals. That's their goal. So we have to continue struggling and allow them to pave the way so they can continue our steps. It also means it's a way to make them understand that it's not an easy way. There are lots of struggle in order to break that barrier. So we have to help them to keep going.
Well done.
Thank you. Are there any other thank you. Are there any other questions or comments?
I have a question for Nair. Nair,
Sí.
¿ha sido muy difícil para ti ser líder en tu país? Yeah. Okay, I just asked her to let us know how tough it has been for her to be sport leader in her country.
Great question.
Bien. Mi trabajo docente durante 30 años me llevó a conocer a mucha gente y de esa forma estar en puestos, a través de concursos, en puestos de decisión en trabajos docentes específicos. Me llevó a tomar decisiones, a hacer planes estratégicos, a hacer planes de igualdad en el tema del área mujer y deporte en este caso, y de esa manera se fue creciendo. Me solicitaron los clubes para ser presidenta en la Asociación Uruguaya de Fútbol. En la FIFA me nombraron para ser miembro de la Comisión Sub-17 y de esa forma uno sigue trabajando y formándose con grandes personas a su alrededor. No debo olvidar para nada, a ver, puedes trasladar si no corto, pero no debo olvidar para nada a mujeres que desde el año 2003 fueron trabajando conmigo esto, estudiando por internet y los seminarios llevados adelante por Élida Alfaro a través de la Agencia de Cooperación Española que se desarrollaban en América. 5 seminarios de una semana completa en donde fuimos formados para este tema. Y de ahí Clemencia es también una clara referente en este tema. A ver si, no sé, ojalá puedan trasladar. Sí.
Rosa, te toca.
Okay, we just lost Rosa, but then she's coming back in. Chris, do you want to summarize what she said, or maybe Rosa?
Sorry, there was a blackout and I missed part of what she was saying. This is unbelievable. Yanair, se fue la luz y perdí parte de lo que dijiste, pero
No. I don't forget, but it's important. My work in the how teacher is the physical education 60 years ago, and a former in the Agencia Cooperación Española, los seminarios de una semana que llevaban a cabo en América, 5 seminarios en donde el intercambio es importante.
Okay, she indicated she worked for 30 years as a physical education teacher. And being in there, she got connected with many, with different networks. Also, she was in different positions for decision-making process. And she had a good contact with IC, which is the cooperation from Spain, in which they deliver different courses and workshop for women leaders. So that helped her a lot. But basically, it's like the connections she did from all her professional career as a PE teacher.
Además, en Congreso Women Sport in Helsinki and Gaborone and FIFA, international FIFA for 6 years, it's important all the space and work in this place. And now I am retired, but no retired, but no retired. It's how other women in this presentation.
She also took advantage of participating in several congresses, like for example in Helsinki and also in Gaborone of IWG. Besides that, with FIFA, she also participated in several courses as well. So nowadays she's retired, but of course, no. Then she said, no, but not retired. I am as active as the other women who are here doing different activities.
Right.
Thank you. And Anna has a question.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Hi. Thank you so much, Nair, for your presentation, and thank you so much to everyone for the opportunity. My comment, I really was interested in the issues you talked about in terms of changing structures, access to management, etc. The question I want to ask, or maybe the comment from you, you know, we have top organizations that are not walking the talk. They talk about increasing women in leadership, but their systems are still not committing to that. I'm not going to talk about the hours, because when we walk into sport, we know that they are long hours, but things like salaries and pay. And the example I'm going to give is sometimes the misconception that certain regions don't have to get paid if you're working in a certain region compared to another region. The pay must be different, but you should still be a professional. Some of the organizations don't have friendly opportunities for people, young people, to raise their families, like childcare support, etc. So how do we effectively advocate for change in these systems so that the numbers that we are talking about and advocating for become very real? Thank you.
Bueno, ella primero agradece tu participación, Nair, y muchas gracias también a todos los demás por permitirles compartir. Ella dice que hay muchas organizaciones que están hablando de que el empoderamiento de la mujer y la mujer debe estar en posiciones de liderazgo. Sin embargo, no tienen estrategias y efectivamente no hay acciones que contribuyan a que hayan más mujeres participando en las tomas de decisiones. Y sobre todo, hay una visión como que si algunas mujeres en algunas regiones no pueden tener el salario o no merecen tener el salario para trabajar, lo cual no ayuda a las jóvenes que están iniciando, que tienen su familia, para comprometerse en un trabajo como gerente deportivo. Entonces, ¿qué sugerencias tiene? Claro, esta pregunta puede ser para ti como también puede ser para otras personas. Of course, this question is for Nain or any of the ones present, right?
Yes.
Sí, es verdad. Nosotros a nivel de la red iberoamericana procuramos establecer el contacto con el Consejo Iberoamericano de Deportes, que sesiona con todos los ministros, enviándoles, asesorando la necesidad de la inclusión de la mujer en los puestos directivos.
Okay, we advocate with the Ibero-American network, in which It is formed by all the ministers or representative of governments that are connected with sport. So we ask them and we enforce them in order to continue supporting women's participation in our region. And this is, in our case, the network in which we can have more, I would say, a key participation, because they are the ones, the minister, who may take decisions. So
Sí, buenas noches, buenas tardes. Es un placer para mí estar aquí. Quiero agradecer a Nair su trabajo, su exposición, que ha sido espléndida, centrada en el fútbol, que es su planteamiento y su trabajo. Pero en relación con la pregunta que se acaba de hacer, a mí me gustaría decir que en el trabajo que venimos desarrollando, como bien ha dicho Nair, en la Red Iberoamericana Mujer y Deporte, una de las cuestiones que nos preocupa es conocer cuáles son las causas por las cuales las mujeres no acceden a los puestos de gestión, porque solamente conociendo las causas se pueden establecer estrategias específicas y efectivas para lograr los cambios. A veces sabemos los datos, sabemos que no hay mujeres, pero tenemos que saber por qué no hay mujeres, porque esa es la manera de llegar a buscar estrategias y ámbitos, digamos, de actuación concretos y políticas por parte de las organizaciones deportivas. Muchas gracias.
Okay. Elida Alfaro was speaking, and she indicates that, of course, Nair speaks from the experience that she comes from, that is soccer. However, in the network, in the Ibero-American network of women and sport, they are studying for the causes. What are the causes that makes women not to participate in sport? And we don't have the answer, because perhaps if we know why, that we can try to find out ways on how to change the situation. So this is right now what the Ibero-American network is doing, trying to find the causes why women are not participating.
Excellent. Very good.
Okay, thank you. Anybody has any other questions? Okay, thank you so much. I know it's time, but before we go, I'd like to quickly talk about that Women's Sports International and then closing the webinar. So I'm gonna share my screen one more time. One more time. So Women's Sports International is committed to ensure the girls and women have equal opportunity to engage in, enjoy, and benefit from participating in sports and the physical activity. So through network, collaboration, and the valid research-based information, Women's Sports International educates and advocates for positive change for the girls and women's equality in sports. So if you have not, please join WSI by visiting our website and then clicking this join WSI. That will take you to the membership page.
Okay, excellent.
Once again, thank you so much for joining us today, everyone. I know it's a different time for all over the world, but we very much appreciate your time. And also, we'd like to thank you again for our guest speaker, for Nair, and Miss Rosa, who jumped in to translate
thank you
for
so
us.
much.
That you were the lifesaver for us.
You were
So,
the lifesaver.
Miss Naya and then Miss Roder, thank you so much. And then everyone, thank you so much for joining us, and have a great morning or evening or night. And then once again, this recording will be available on our website tomorrow. All right,
Okay.
thank you again.